This is ODQ, and I'm going to do a channel update. I've had some changes recently. I've had some doctor visits and stuff like that recently, and just just kind of stuff got a little hectic for a little bit. Made it hard for me to keep up with the Twitch channel stuff, and to be honest, the Twitch channel stuff is just not quite my style. I don't dig. I like to review a little bit more. It's like going live, and you don't really, and you can use it to make videos, and you can edit the videos and stuff, but live is it's kind of out there right away. You don't have control over it. So unless you're I've just decided that it's really not quite for me. And so I'm not going to be doing the Twitch stuff anymore. I'm going to do videos and record them so that I can kind of review what I said. Did I make an ass of myself or whatever? Should I just redo it or edit it a little bit? Stuff like that. And hopefully put a little bit better product out and feel like I have a little bit more control over what I put out on the internet. So the YouTube system was just kind of just recording stuff and putting it out there. Seems to fit me a little bit better, I think. So that's what I'm doing there. Let's see what else. I've changed some things a little bit. I'm not going to necessarily go over all the macros and everything again that I've changed. If somebody's watching this video and they're really interested in that, the basics on how to do it is pretty much out there. If I don't cover it quite well enough, there's 12 Strings, I think, has a pretty good one on how he makes macros and what some of the basic commands for each line, how to set pauses and timers and stuff like that to make sure things time out right for when you hit your macro button. It does what you intend for it to do. So there's that. But I've done some minor changes, and they're pretty minor. As for the most part, what I have recently, I went back to my Rogue pet, because I had this, and this is my tank pet here. Which I had all decked out with expensive gear, conflagrant gear. It's expensive for pet gear, that's for sure. And I got kind of probably just a little too comfortable with him, and I've reached some gear goals. I've got full threaded as far as the gear goes, even the weapon. This is ice encrusted. I just got lucky on a drop for the shield, but I need 7 more ore to get the multi-stat Augs. And this is happening kind of slowly but surely. It'll happen. I'll probably get all these finally done right around when the expansion launches. And then I'll just kind of puddle around, just enjoy feeling very powerful and stuff, for me anyway. And I might go in some old zones and just feel like kind of puff my chest out a little bit. And slaughter some stuff effortlessly. And back progression, since I don't really like to rely on groups, because I just pop on and pop off. I just like to have the freedom of just doing stuff on my own. if I happen, and this is not necessarily out of complete selfishness necessarily. I mean, if I happen to be, it's out of respect for others, really, because if I happen to be on, and I've just gotten on or something, and somebody, and I'm aware of somebody really, needing help with something, or, you know, something like that, I'll help them. Whether it's just something that has to do with this game mechanics, or maybe they just don't know how to get somewhere, and it's just easier just to have them follow you. You know that vibe, right? It's just easier to have them follow you, and get them where they want to go, and instead of trying to type out directions. I don't do Discord. I know a lot of the raid people and people that have very consistent people that they play with on a daily or at least weekly basis or something. They like to use the voice Discord. That's great. I've used it before and other stuff. I played World of Warcraft Classic for a little bit. I just wanted a change. I wanted to give that a shot. And that we were just in Discord from the minute you log on, you're in Discord. Just even if you're just kind of farming stuff or doing stuff on your own, leveling up or whatever, and just talking, so I don't know, maybe I should kind of set up something like that for people just to, just chew the fat a little bit, um, so there's that. So I'm sorry about the Twitch stuff. If there's some people that kind of went over there and they watched the Twitch stuff and they've noticed I've been pretty slim this week. I haven't kept up with my schedule. It's not just about putting a realistic schedule. Like I said, it's just that system. It's not, it's not like I won't eventually go over to doing that, but I don't feel comfortable doing that right now. There's also personal life stuff and everything. There's got a multitude of different things that I'm kind of juggling around a little bit, and it just doesn't fit, right? Some people will say, wow, this seems like it should fit better, right? Because you just get on there, you stream, you get off, and you're done, right? And yeah, but without any guidance, I don't really get any people in my chat yet, right? And without any kind of guidance, I will run off at the mouth. And usually, the more you talk, the more likely you are to say something stupid or offensive or whatever. And that's me. So I don't want to do that. This is I want to be responsible with it, and I want to keep this, for game stuff, and sometimes I get a little too opinionated about things, and I don't mean to offend people or necessarily, or any ill will toward people or anything like that. There's just, people are really hyper nowadays, and I just want to try to make sure to respect people no matter what they think, and sometimes it's best not to talk about certain subjects, right? There's the classic, 3 subjects you should never talk about, kind of a thing. If you just want to keep things cordial and friendly, So there's that. Gear-wise, like I said, I got all the, threaded stuff, which is the tier 3 group gear, the highest group gear stuff. The pet. Okay, yeah. So I completely geared out a rogue pet, which is what I was using before coming to this zone, and because my idea was that that rogue pet, I think he might be just about as tough as this warrior pet if you gear him basically about the same way. So I did, and I played with him for a little bit, and I'm like, wow, he's still a little bit. It's noticeably a little bit more brittle, So what's important to me? Do I want to finish a mob off have a little bit more mana left and finish them off just slightly, either with a little bit more mana left with the same amount of time, or use the same amount of mana and have them die a little quicker, maybe 20 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds, give or take, quicker than before. Probably around more closer to 20 seconds before per trash mob. But, have just like be a little bit more important for you to have a single mob instead of, if you get one ad. This tank pet here, goes back to the tank pet, I geared him up all ridiculous against stuff with Conflagrant, and my bank is suffering. Right here I'm under, nowadays if you're under 1,000,000 plat, you're not really poor, but you're definitely on a budget, right? So I'm like up over 700k. I'm on a budget here. I don't have extra money to be throwing at alts. I don't have a lot of extra money to just be doing stupid experiments with the pet like I did. That was the last experiment until I get a new pet at level let's see, would it be 117, right? Would be the new warrior pet for the next tier, next level ranges. That it's going to go up to 120, right? We should get a new warrior pet at level 117, and then a new rogue pet at the max level 120. So anyway, so I decided, you know what? I'd rather just feel a little bit more secure. I don't want to. If I happen to get one ad, I don't want to have to rinse and repeat, kind of cut bait on it, especially if it's not in the middle of the fight. If it's, if I've made some progress on a mob, and the mob happens to be a little bit too far, a little bit farther out in that direction, and a mob wanders up and adds in. If that happens with this warrior pet, which I've geared up ridiculously again, it's not as big of a deal, man. I mean, I can hang. I wouldn't say it's necessarily stress-free. I have to, that when something like that's going on, I got to make sure I'll keep a real close eye on the health, and I might ruin them, stuff like that. But it's working. It can work. And when it's just a single mob like this, the hit points are very controllable. My Merc is good old Clem, man. He's keeping Elwood up, no problem. Once in a while, he'll dip down to around 70% or so with the hit points, but it's it's not as big of a deal. Basically, the difference in that type of stuff for durability, for the difference between the rogue and the tank pet, is probably about 20% damage, taken, whatever that works out for the hit points or not. I don't know. I know the rogue pet probably has fewer hit points. It's a little more brittle, things like that. But the difference is, it is fairly minor, but it's just my style. It's what's important to you, right? You want to make sure. I know a lot of guys that are. They're just straight up boxers. That's their thing. That's what they like to do. And they're regular boxers. They're not AFK boxers. And they have a tank pet system. They will, because they have they got shaman buffs and they got other support for it and everything. They'll use, or maybe they don't even use the pet for a tank. Especially that they'll use the rogue pet. That's all they'll use. So they have like a Shadow Knight, on their tank team that's tanking, on their box team. If they happen to, maybe they're going kind of memey with it, or they just like necros, whatever. They'll have or they just have a mage with the rogue pet. They got rogue pets too. It's the water pet. So, anyway. But to me, since I'm really kind of a solo artist, as they say, I want to feel secure and feel like I have some options if stuff starts to go south, more than just either FDN or Levanten or whatever, you know. I want to have some options. Neither pet's good enough to take down current named in this most current X pack, and I think that's going to be probably the general theme going forward. In the past, up through Ring of Scale, maybe even that Genie one. I call it the Genie X pack. I didn't play in it very much because a lot of the zones were locked behind progression, which I don't really do. So I didn't play very much in that Burning Lands progression at all. I just kind of skipped over it. Wasn't my thing. What was the next one after that? I think it was the TOV, right? After Burning Lands. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, what was I on? So I skipped over that. Anyway, so what else? Kind of rambling on here. I'm probably going to put rambling in the titles here. It's an update with ramblings, or rambling update. So for my pet, that's I kind of reminded myself through that wasteful effort there the other day that I'm just going back to the warrior pet. So this is my warrior pet. I've geared him up with conflagrant and stupid crap, and very wasteful. Even when it's a deal, it's gonna cost like around 200k or so to really gear up the pet with conflagrant gear, full conflagrant gear and stuff. And then the off, non-visual items, I got the fancy ones for those too. Gave him a belt that has I gave him like TOV belt, off gear, belt's not conflagrant. I just went crazy with it. So it's probably closer for this warrior pet. He's probably got like 300k worth of crap on him. It's insane. But since I'm usually pretty careful and I don't die hardly ever, and my pet doesn't die really either, if me or the pet dies, I've really screwed up or I wasn't paying attention, and frankly I deserve to lose all that money if that happens. There's not a lot of excuses when you're even in current content for and when you're in an area like this anyway, for dying. There's just no excuse. You were watching TV or something and weren't paying attention, and you're like, and you just once you kind of get used to it and you're into the groove and you're max A8 and all kind of stuff like that. So that's how it's my vibe, what I'm doing now. This is near the end of the video here. I just wanted to kind of give a little update, say sorry for not sticking with the Twitch stuff. I am going to start Twitter when I have specific things like announcement type stuff. I think I'm going to start actually putting stuff out on Twitter. So if you'd like to follow me, you can, if it's important to you to really catch any new stuff I'm planning, or oh wow, it's a good topic he's going to cover. I'm going to make sure to kind of catch that video. I wonder, I'll put plans up, I'll make announcements, and I'll give a specific date when I'm going to have the video up, and hopefully that can be dependable enough that people can rely on it. I don't want this hobby to turn into work, and I want to make sure I balance it with the other stuff in my life. I've been see. So there's that. So the Twitter thing, if you want to do it, I think the links on the YouTube and also the Twitch account, actually, too, Twitch channel. They both have links to the Twitter if you want to follow me. Thank you. I have a new follower. Person that was actually, I bumped into him in game right here in this area. They were like, "Hey, what's going on?" Oh, and they were surprised I was killing the rare mob, the Rildar guy in this area. You're just doing it solo. I'm not up to that level yet. I'm like, oh well, I kind of briefly told them the general thing what I do, and told them, hey, catch it on my channel, and I think they caught the video and they may have watched some other stuff, and they actually subscribe to my YouTube channel. So I'm like, thanks for that little sub there. Appreciate that. And I'll try to, if you have certain things that you want me to cover, go for it. Just put in the comments or something. I'm not all knowledgeable. I'm just kind of a casual EverQuest player from way back in the day. I started my account December of 1999. I wasn't like a beta player or anything like that, but and even back then, when very quickly people became super EverCrack type addicted, and they started spending massive hours in the game. At one time, I did have a problem with the game. To me, a problem was playing it 6 or 8 hours a day. It became a problem, and I recognized it and I stopped it. And for me, breaking something like that was stopping cold turkey. So I stopped it, and stopped cold turkey for this when I started my system of just canceling my account for months, even years at a time, and coming back and canceling for a while again, coming back. This right here, because of all the COVID stuff, this is the longest I've kept my account active in one stretch since the early 2000s. I mean, my typical vibe is to play for a few months out of the year, and then usually up until I get maybe max AAs, or up to a certain point where I feel comfortable, or maybe stuff is starting to happen in real life and I'm like, man, I gotta cut this out, I got other stuff I just gotta do. So, and if I'm not gonna, and so that I start doing the other stuff, I don't cancel my account yet, and then if I go a couple weeks and I realize I've logged into EverQuest at all, I'm like, okay, it's time to just cancel the account for a while, for a few months or whatever it is, and then I'll come back to it, and I feel like I have time, and time's more conducive to playing EQ for like 2 or 3 hours a day kind of thing. That's pretty much my vibe, right? If I'm either not playing that at all, or if I'm playing more than 2 or 3 hours a day consistently, then I cut it off too. I'm like, okay, I gotta chill out. And the way I can't just make a rule and trim it back like that. Sometimes I can a little bit, but I mean, most of the time, especially if I've gone a while without really realizing how much I'm playing, I'm like, okay, cut it off. Play my card game, or just do other more constructive things besides computer games, and I just kind of do that. So that's how I manage and keep myself fairly healthy in the brain, and make sure I don't force my wife to divorce me, or kids hate me and stuff like that. There's that stuff, so there we go. That's kind of the rambling channel update there. If you have any questions, I know a little bit, I kind of know generally how, about the pets. I got a pet video up there. It's not completely comprehensive. There are people way more organized than me and can explain things a little bit better than me, in a more, they obviously make a sort of type out a script or something. They really organize themselves before they make videos. They do, little fancier graphics and stuff like that. I'm really kind of specifically mainly talking about 12 strings and Hammock J. Do a lot better of a production value kind of job than I do. And once in a while I get lucky and I happen to mention something they've forgotten. So it doesn't mean I know more than them. It just means that we're all remembering the same stuff, different parts of the same stuff at different times. We're all a bit older. I think it seems like Hammock J is probably the youngest of us of some of the current like Necro people that cover Necro stuff in EverQuest live on YouTube. But we all, they're all knowledgeable. We all know some stuff. I'm sure they know probably a bit more than me because they went deeper in the game than I did. Like I said, I was casual when casual was uncool. People were diving their lives into this game, and I resisted that temptation. It was a temptation, and I went into it to a bit. Like I said, I considered myself having a bit of a problem for a while. But I stayed casual, right? Grouping, and back when you could group pretty casually, if you played a certain class anyway, it was a cleric, I mean, stuff like that. And anyway, always been casual, but I've picked up stuff, and I read message boards and I pay attention to patch notes, changes they make, even if it's not the class I'm playing, my favorite class or something. It's gonna make mental notes. Oh, so and so got nerfed. This got improved. This is a nice quality of life change. Yada yada, stuff like that. Just kind of make little mental notes so I kind of know what's going on. A lot of people they just play. Some people they don't even go in the message boards at all. They don't pay attention to announcements. They're used to the more modern games that if there are changes like that, it's right in the game interface, boom. And I think it's kind of here too in the launcher and stuff, but I don't know, it just seems like the modern games, obviously this is an old game, it's got a system that's older, and people have learned better ways to kind of keep players current with changes made to games and things, so that it kind of jumps out at you so you pay attention to it instead of just being able to kind of olay it or ignore it and then regret ignoring it later on, so. Alright, this is the end of the video for real. Have a great day. Elwood EQ signing out.